crap, forgot the question. Hold on.
All good.
Classic. Is this pace all right for you?
Yeah, altitude sickness.
Yeah, dude. Hit me hard. I came up from Phoenix.
Hypoxia. You're seeing it live.
Yeah.
Over 6,000 feet.
Welcome back to another episode of Talking While Running. Very special guest today. We got Rory Linkletter on the program. Another beautiful day out in Flagstaff. Thanks for joining me, Rory.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is fun.
All right, so we found him out here, picked up the second half of his run, basically. But this was your spot. Where are we? Maybe set the scene for the people.
Yeah, so we're about 6 miles east of Flagstaff, a little town called Winona. It's a great winter running spot because for some reason, even though it's only 6 miles away from Flag, it never gets snow. So this road's really reliable from like November through April.
Okay.
So
unreal. And you're out here training with NAZ Elite and Hoka. I'd love to start there, kind of get into how you transition to them from BYU and what really kind of sweetened the deal to go with them.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I wanted to run marathons eventually, and just so happened that NAZ Elite was kind of a premier marathon group in the U.S. And I had heard great things about Flagstaff, and I had actually visited once, so I knew it was an incredible place to live and train. So that was really enticing, and my agent told me Hoka takes great care of their athletes. Which, I mean, if you're going to be a professional, you want to run for a company that's going to take care of you. And so I have kind of best of all worlds. I have, a great coach, great team, and a great sponsor. So it was kind of a perfect fit for me.
Okay, sick. And you're originally from Canada. Let's go there. But you've lived in Utah basically most of your life, right?
Yeah. I born in Calgary, Alberta, raised in like the Salt Lake City, Utah area. Flagstaff's not too much different. Mountainous, 4 seasons, beautiful. Yeah, it wasn't a huge adjustment.
Right, and so let's go back maybe to the BYU days for a minute. Got a ton of All-American credits under his belt, and I mean, it's definitely one of the best programs, if not the best, right now in the game. What do you remember maybe most fondly about that program and Coach Eyestone and all those guys? What stands out about your days at BYU?
I would say our team had a really fun culture of just working hard, but also really enjoying ourselves while training at a very high level.
Right.
Always a good, as many college teams have, inside jokes, just travel, experience. All those things were just so much fun. It was like practice was social hour, but also we were getting down to business and working extremely hard. Coach Eyestone kind of has a laid-back approach, so practice was just able to stay loose, even though we were, trying to win national championships and compete at the highest level in the NCAA. We just had a good time. I loved my team. My coach, he was, super influential in developing me as an athlete. When I got to BYU, I was a pretty mediocre Utah high school runner. It wasn't like I was some touted stud, but Coach Eyestone really developed me super well and made it really easy to transition to this level, the professional level.
Right. And it seems it's gone pretty well. Just dropped a 2:12 PR at the Marathon Project in December. You kind of touched on it. I think it's interesting in your case that you knew you wanted to go to the marathon. And I think it's smart to kind of make that adjustment early. Would you agree with that? And what was the thinking to go for a marathon?
Yeah, so I would attribute my relationship with Coach Eyestone and Jared Ward strongly to the desire to run a marathon. I don't think a lot of college kids are exposed to the marathon.
Right.
But I was. Coach Eyestone, a 2-time Olympian in the marathon.
Yeah.
And he coached Jared while I was at BYU. And I got to train with Jared, and he's an Olympic marathoner.
Yep.
So I just remember kind of taking an interest in it. And it seemed like Coach Eyestone transitioned athletes extremely well to the marathon.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, we do a strength-based program at BYU where we do a lot of mileage, a lot of tempos, a lot of the right kind of work to get good at road racing in the future.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, it's just the more lucrative side of the sport.
True.
So
that always helps.
Yeah, if you're gonna be a professional, you gotta look at it that way a little bit.
Yeah.
And I just excited me. So I knew I wanted to at least give one a try before the Tokyo Games, just kind of see if I can make the team. And then it was delayed a year.
Right.
So I ended up giving it another try. And now I'm just kind of, I'm in love with the way you train for it.
Okay.
The race itself. And man, is it ever a cruel race.
Cruel beast, yeah.
I mean, you mentioned 2:12 at Marathon Project, but man, that race, I had bigger goals.
Okay.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Because it's steady improvement from my first one. But man, the marathon just gives you so much push and pull. It's just a torturous event.
Yeah, I mean, there's even a legendary clip of you can right across the line, which just, sums up what you said exactly. So
yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, it can feel super easy for a really long time, and then it all comes crashing down in a hurry.
Right.
It's a hot and cold event. So
yeah, I love it. I'm interested to see how you keep improving, because I think sky's the limit. If you're coming out of college and doing that, I mean, it's only up from there. But
yeah, not a lot of people have ran 2 marathons before they're 25 years old.
Exactly, yeah.
So I hope I'll be experienced when I reach my prime, and that's kind of the reason is you hit your prime in your late 20s. A lot of people are just starting, considering that.
Exactly.
I'll hopefully have, half a dozen under my belt by the time I'm in my late 20s.
Oh, no doubt. And we were talking before shooting. You got the podcast Running Rivals. We'll drop a link. Check it out, everyone, if you haven't. But how's that been going? And what was sort of the inspiration to start your own podcast?
Well, I mean, just kind of Nick Hogger, Matt Baxter, and I came into NAZ Elite around the same time. We competed against each other in college. We were good buddies when we got on the team. And we always are thinking of ideas and ways to give back to the sport and also grow our brand, because we know we're more than just runners.
Yep.
If a company's gonna sponsor us, I feel like we need to be accessible.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun way for us to talk about things we would already talk about.
Yeah. Just share it.
Talk to other runners about their races and their stories, share that with other people, and then also just talk about what's going on in the running world.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot going on all the time, and we
sum it up. And
it's a fun thing to do.
You kind of touched on it there, and I think it's really smart for especially someone in your position with a good personality to do that, to leverage that for sponsors. But also, runners are in a different scenario than most other pro athletes in terms of having to kind of carve out their own following. And I was just interested, how important you see the DIY side of the pro running world, and then also, I know you're a big sports fan in general. If you could be pro in another sport, what would it be?
Yeah. So, I mean, DIY, do it yourself, kind of promote yourself. It's sometimes looked at in a negative light by some people in the sport, because honestly, in order to do it, you kind of have to be a self-promoter, and a little bit of that can come off as egotistical or vain. And like, that's never the goal. The goal is to share what your experiences are for younger athletes and older athletes alike that maybe have a vested interest in your career, or maybe you guys connect on some level and you can share your experiences. It's just there's not a lot of other ways to share your journey unless you are willing to do it yourself. And as far as other sport, man, growing up, I would have told you 4 different sports.
Right.
You know, first it was hockey growing up in Canada. Then it became baseball or basketball. But I think now at this point in my life, I've picked up golf, and it seems like that is the way to go.
Okay.
If you want to be a professional athlete, they just live awesome lives.
That's a great answer.
Lots of money in that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I did some, I like to do some stalking on the Twitter and the Instagrams and whatnot. And I was unable to really determine what fan base you subscribe to for these sports. I'd love to hear that. And then also, more 2-part questions. Is your family still in Canada? Like, how much of that sort of Canadian culture is still in you?
Yeah. So, for the major sports, NHL, MLB, NFL, it's kind of sporadic, but I have reasons for each of them.
Okay.
NHL is just the hometown team, the Calgary Flames.
Great.
I grew up going to Flames games with my dad. It was a pretty easy pick there, pretty obvious.
Right. And a good team.
Yeah, fun team. And then in the NBA, I'm a Nuggets fan.
Ooh.
But that's kind of 2-part.
Okay.
So, first and foremost, I went to a Nuggets game in the Pepsi Center. I have an aunt that lives in Denver, and I was a big Carmelo fan.
Oh, yeah.
And so I went and saw Melo play live once. I was like, maybe a 10-year-old. I was like, yeah, that's my team now.
Okay, yeah.
And I just stuck with it.
That's sick.
14 years later, still a Nuggets fan. So
hopefully a Melo fan as well.
Yeah, Melo's cool. Still a Melo rider guy. But and then the NFL. I mean, growing up in Utah, there wasn't really a team that you could easily latch onto. So I just really liked the Ravens.
Oh, okay.
Baltimore Ravens.
That's dope.
Really random, but I just liked Ed Reed,
yeah.
Ray Lewis,
Love
that
them.
era. And I've stuck with it. Now they got Lamar Jackson. It's always fun.
Oh yeah, they're sick.
Yeah, fun team. So, and then as far as the Canadian roots that remain, my mom moved to Utah when I was 5, and the rest of my family stayed in Canada. It's not like I have an aunt that lives in Colorado, like I mentioned. But other than that, everyone's either in Alberta or British Columbia, Canada. So my dad still lives there. I have a brother that lives there, and I have all my cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents, all that stuff. So still very rooted.
Okay, good.
In Canada.
I love that because I'm fascinated by the culture, the Canadian life. Like, tell me you're a huge Drake guy.
I'm not as big as Justin Knight is on the Drake, but I certainly, he just dropped 3 new songs. I listened to them the day they came out.
Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a fan. I can't claim hardcore, I don't know if you've ever seen Justin Knight's for Drake, but yeah, Drake's great.
And we were also talking before we started shooting, switching up gears a bit, about what you got coming up next. Whatever you're willing to share, obviously, but give us a look.
There's a couple of races on the schedule right now, which is really exciting because last year, man, it was impossible to put a race on the schedule because of COVID.
Right.
But these opportunities are coming up. First and foremost, a couple road races, one in March, one in April. 15K, March 20th, then a half marathon in Omaha, Nebraska, April 24th. It's going to have a pretty good elite field. Sounds like it'll be fun. I know I'll be in good shape for that one.
Yeah.
Could be an opportunity to run a personal best if the weather permits.
Yep.
According to reports, the course is flat as a pancake.
Okay.
So, could be great. And then, right now, the last race that's on the schedule is the 10K, May 14th, hosted by Sound Running.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, it's an Olympic year, so goal is to run really fast there.
Yeah.
So we're kind of peaking to see what I can do there. Kind of putting all of our eggs in that basket, and then hopefully pays off with a big personal best and a time that's going to put us in contention to make an Olympic team.
Yeah. So you're trying to, would you go Canadian team?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
So I just got my dual citizenship, but
great.
Still, my allegiance is with Canada.
Right.
For international competition.
Yeah.
I don't see why that would change. I've already represented Canada on the world stage and in Pan Ams. So for me, it's like, I'm really proud of my Canadian roots. I don't see myself switching up.
Good. Sorry. And, well, I also want to touch on, crap, forgot the question. Hold on.
All good.
Classic. Is this pace all right for you?
Yeah, altitude sickness.
Yeah, dude. Hit me hard. I came up from Phoenix.
Hypoxia. You're seeing it live.
Yeah.
Over 6,000 feet.
Yeah, what are we at?
This road's a little lower than Flagstaff. It's like 6,400 maybe. But, I mean, coming from Phoenix, you're going to feel that.
Oh, yeah.
But
I thought of it, but keep going.
Emmett here had to join me after I'm really well warmed up.
No,
so
he's also well in shape and a beast. But I remember my question. What we like to ask this to most guests. What's one thing you see the running world is doing right, especially on the pro side? And then, what's one thing that you think needs to change to take pro running to the stratosphere?
Yeah. So here's something that I feel like has been tackled a ton in the last year.
Okay.
One thing that's going really well is professional running is finding ways to be more accessible to everyone. I think social media helps with that a lot. A great example is this Trials of Miles Texas qualifier that we just did in Austin, and the way that Citius Mag covered that meet is exactly what the sport needs. It was an enticing broadcast both from a visual and audio perspective. Really well researched commentators. You have a former professional athlete, Kyle Merber, behind the mic with Chris Chavez, a capital J journalist.
Yeah.
So
pardon my take, guy.
Yeah, big PMT guy. He's good at his job.
Yeah.
And I think continuing to put on meets at that level with that kind of stuff is what matters, and is what's going to make it more exciting. But the one thing that needs to be improved is how do you make that profitable? Because that was sweet, it was free, and people got to watch, and it was super accessible, which is so important.
Yeah.
But now we got to bring value. That's not sustainable.
True.
For the sport, because it costs a lot of money to put on a good broadcast with the equipment, travel, all of the stuff. So I think Citius Mag, companies like that, will figure things out. But I like to think of it like, how does an NFL team or the NFL make money?
Right.
TV deals, that kind of stuff's huge. And we probably won't get on cable television, but if we stay on YouTube, what's stopping us from...
It's probably the better route anyway.
Yeah. What's stopping us from getting ad reads live in a meet? Like you can, not cutaways, ad reads, product placement, those types of things. You need to bring money to the sport. If you can get, 10 to 15,000 eyes on a screen for 4 hours, there's got to be some value in that. So, and I think it'll grow if you do that. So the production value will go up. So yeah, I just think bring sponsors in, and don't be afraid to try things that other sports are doing. Like there's ways to make sports more successful. Pretty proven methods across the board in other sports. Gambling, alcohol.
Yeah,
like,
it helps.
Just get the fans really invested. Tell stories. All the good stuff.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think a lot of people share that same sentiment, and like you said, there's some brands doing it, getting out there, trying, and I think we're on the right track.
Yeah.
We're approaching the end here. I appreciate you so much for coming out.
Yeah.
What else? Anything people should follow you on? Pop the links on Twitter. Listen to his podcast. Anything else?
I mean, I'm on Twitter, Instagram,
yeah.
Whatever social media you get on, I'll probably be on it.
Love it.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the story.
All right. Well, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Hopefully that wasn't
Oh, it's perfect.
too much.